welcome back. Now, if you know me, and you probably do because you have clicked this video, then you know that I quite like me some tanks. Just now and again, just here and there. Well, some tanks here and some tanks up there. I do like me some tanks. And one of the things that I really, really like about most tanks is the enclosed nature of said tanks. There's a reason that I don't have a bunch of Basilisks, say, because the Basilisk is an open top vehicle. It's got a big platform on the back where the lads are supposed to put the ammo into the gun so the gun can fire at things several miles away, and that's fine, but it's just never been my thing. I've always felt like you need the lads on the back, but I've also never particularly wanted to paint the lads that go on the back, and so Basilisks have always kind of been one of those, maybe one day when I can be bothered to build an enclosed area for the gun, much like is available on Forge World. Like, Forge World has had a couple of variations of Basilisks that have got a big shield and actually enclosed back, but they have also been horrendously expensive because it's Forge World, and of course all the extra bits have been resin because it's Forge World. So, far more expensive and a worse experience to put together, and you'll most likely need to straighten it all out before you even start that, which is why I've never bothered. However, that is about to change because the rollout of, did you get what I did there? The roll, because it's vehicles, whatever. They've continued the march of, that doesn't work anywhere near as well. Look, they're doing plastic versions of the Solar Auxilia artillery, and that is in plastic now, and that's what I want. Look at it. It's like that. Terrible segue. But that's basically what I like. I love that. It looks fantastic. It is a new Basilisk in plastic, previously available in Forge World resin, but this is going to be so much better to just... everything about it is going to be a better experience, frankly. As we are used to saying every time they show off something that was resin and is now plastic, I love this. I mean, something to note is that I believe this is based off the Lehman Russ chassis as opposed to the Chimera chassis, so your standard Basilisk isn't on this platform, it's on the Chimera platform. So this is very different in terms of just the overall dimensions of it. The Lehman Russ is a bit shorter, I believe, than the Chimera, so it's not quite like a one-for-one, but it is still a Basilisk. It's still an enclosed Basilisk with a bunch of armour on the back of it. It just looks so much nicer to my eye. And while it might not be a one-for-one kind of, I say replacement, these are technically Horus Heresy, not 40k. While it's not a one-for-one replacement, it still fulfills the same purpose, and to my eye looks better doing it. Once again, we've sort of got the cutaway side of the hull there, so you've got a bit more of the track showing, a bit more of the wheels and stuff underneath. There's a bit more travel on it, as opposed to the 40k Lehman Russ, which has got, like, it looks like it's going to get stuck on pretty much any hump or bump, which is not exactly what you want. They have made little changes to the Lehman Russ for the Solar Auxilia version, and it looks like they've kept those for these, which is nice. The added decoration, all that like kind of plating on the corners and the edges with all the extra rivets, I love that. I mean, I'm not going to enjoy painting it because, oh my god, going over every single one of those rivets with streak and grime is going to be an absolute... oh, it's just going to take so long. It's going to take so long, but it'll be worth it in the end. You've got your various gubbins along the back. Also, little things like the cables across the top. I really like that. I don't know why. Just a bit of added detail. I think something that the older Imperial Guard stuff is guilty of, like the vehicles. The Lehman Russ and like the Basilisk especially, they're kind of guilty of not having a huge amount of detail unless you add a ton on yourself. They're very plain in some areas. There are just some big blank flat spaces on both, which is fine until you see something that's got a bit more busyness going on, much like this, where you kind of go, oh, I guess actually a bit more detail might have been nice. That would have been cool, but okay. But this has got that extra detail. It looks great. It looks really good. I mean, it looks to be a direct copy of what the Forge World model was, so obviously if they're going to copy it one for one, then it's going to look as good as it did before, and it already looked pretty damn good. Although now wondering whether the Forge World version always had that kind of cutout on the side there so you could see more of the track or not. I'll have to have a check with that. We also have the Medusa as well, so it's pretty much exactly the same, just a different gun. Little short, stumpy gun going on. I have to admit, seeing that has now made me work out what looks a little bit weird about the Basilisk. I've just decided that I prefer an unpainted gun, or at least not an unpainted gun, don't leave it bare plastic, but like a metallic gun as opposed to a gun painted the same colour as the rest of the tank. I couldn't tell you why, but that does not look as good to me as that does, and I think it is purely down to the fact that the actual colour of the tank isn't on the weapon itself there. I don't know why that makes a difference. I don't know why that's just stood out to me as being something that I prefer one way or the other, but it is, I guess. We've got some cheeky extras as well. We've got lads sticking out of the hatch with either some sort of magnifying glass. That's not a magnifying glass, that's a telescope. What are you talking about? But obviously fancy and sci-fi, and a big old screen in front of him, and one that's just got the classic heavy stubber. And if you're feeling really masochistic, then there are a bunch of interior details. I mean, like actual crew, ammo, all sorts of stuff on the inside of this that you can paint if you want to. Personally, I'm probably not going to be doing that. I mean, given that I didn't even like the idea of putting the crew on the outside of the normal plastic Basilisk we've had for years now, there's no way I'm painting the lads that go on the inside of an enclosed one that no one's going to see. That's not going to happen. I'm too lazy. I'll be honest. I'm trying to find excuses. There's no excuses. I'm just too lazy. It's just not going to happen. Overall, though, I'm well chuffed with this, because I love these models already, and now they'll be available in plastic, and that just makes them better than they were previously. So there you go, I was going to say new tanks, but I know you're actually going to get annoyed at me if I say tanks, because technically not tanks, technically self-propelled guns, right? But new vehicles with guns attached to them, just as a generic blanket term, let's just say that. That is a bit of a mouthful. I will say, actually, you know what? I'm gonna be not controversial here, but I'm kind of going to go against my own instincts a little bit here. I feel like there's been a lot of vehicles with tracks with guns attached to them. I feel like maybe something. It feels like there's been a lot, a lot for the Horus Heresy, a lot of that kind of thing. Maybe we do some aircraft, maybe something like that, something a little bit different, perhaps. That'd be nice. I mean, I'm not complaining. More than happy. Well happy that these are a thing. But a little bit of variety, perhaps. Well, I suppose technically we did get the Sentinels not that long ago. So no, there is still a bit of variety going on. Really, what I want is a plastic Marauder bomber. I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm just going to say it. It's probably never going to happen. It's probably not a thing that is going to exist at any point, but that's what I want. And if they were to do that, I would be incredibly happy. But it seems very unlikely. But that's the wish list. It's that and nothing else. That's what I want. Get on it, Games World. Yeah, there's no way. There's absolutely no way.